This is Ji Seong-ho. Born in 1983, he grew up in one of the most isolated and oppressed countries in the world, North Korea, in a land where survival itself was a daily struggle. Ji's childhood was defined by suffering and scarcity. The country was devastated by a severe famine in the 1990s, known as the Arduous March. Food was so scarce that people ate whatever they could find: roots, insects, even grass. Like millions of others, Ji spent most of his early years fighting hunger, desperately trying to find enough food to survive each day. In a country where even the most basic freedoms were a luxury, Ji's early life was marked by constant deprivation. His home was a crumbling structure with no heating and little food. The walls that should have provided warmth were as cold and unforgiving as the land outside. This was Ji's reality, his family clinging to whatever scraps the state offered. His mother worked endlessly in the fields, but there was never enough. Every day was a battle against hunger, and a regime that cared little for the well-being of its people. But survival was not Ji's only challenge. At just 13, a desperate act, one he hoped would help feed his family, changed his life forever. Hungry and weak, Ji tried to steal coal from a slow-moving train. It was a small act, but in North Korea, even the slightest defiance or need was met with severe punishment. His left leg was crushed and his left arm shattered. He lay there, motionless, the train passing by, indifferent to his suffering. The amputations that followed were horrific. With little medical care and no pain relief, Ji endured an agony no child should have to experience. Yet, even this unimaginable betrayal by his own country was just the beginning of a journey he could never have predicted. Ji's world had always been small, confined to the borders of North Korea, but his curiosity began to grow. Whispers of the outside world started to reach him. Stories of defectors who had escaped to China or South Korea, where they could live without fear of the regime's watchful eye. To Ji, those tales of escape were intoxicating, but the more he learned, the more he realized the risks. The borders were heavily guarded. Anyone caught trying to escape would face punishment, and their families would bear the consequences. Every year, thousands of North Koreans risk their lives to escape the regime. Crossing the Tumen River into China or attempting to reach South Korea is incredibly dangerous. The North Korean government views defectors as traitors, and the punishment for being caught is often torture, imprisonment, or execution. But for many, the risk is worth it for a shot at freedom. Still, the idea of escaping gnawed at him. Every night, he dreamt of running, crossing those hills into China, where he could be free. But freedom had a price he wasn't sure he was ready to pay. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of defection is the separation of families. The regime forces a system of collective punishment. If one member of a family escapes, the entire family can be punished. In many cases, this means arrest, torture, or even execution. It's a cruel tactic that keeps people trapped in fear, unable to even dream of a life beyond North Korea's borders. In 2006, at the age of 23, Ji made the unimaginable decision. Despite his broken body, still weak from years of malnutrition, he would leave everything behind: his family, his home, the only life he had ever known, and embark on a perilous journey that would challenge everything about him. A few years prior, in 2002, he had attempted to escape but was caught and tortured, a horrific ordeal that made his resolve for freedom even stronger. He knew what lay ahead: border guards, treacherous terrain, and the very real possibility of being caught and sent back. But in the face of that fear, something else burned within him, a need for freedom stronger than any fear. And so, aided by his father and a smuggler, he took the first step, alone. Ji made his way to the Tumen River, which marks the border between North Korea and China. The river was freezing cold, and Ji, struggling with his prosthetic, nearly drowned while crossing, but he pushed forward, his eyes fixed on the other side. The Tumen River, which Ji crossed in 2006, marks the border between North Korea and China. For many defectors, crossing this river is a symbol of their last desperate hope for freedom. But even after crossing, the danger is far from over. China does not recognize North Korean defectors as refugees, meaning they can be sent back to North Korea to face punishment. It's a cruel catch-22. Escape one danger, only to face another. After a long and difficult journey, Ji reached South Korea in 2007. He relied on religious groups and kind strangers to help him through China, eventually managing to find safety in South Korea, where he was eventually reunited with his brother. Religious organizations play a huge role in helping defectors, offering them food, shelter, and guidance as they navigate the dangerous journey through China and Southeast Asia. These groups risk their own safety to help people like Ji, who are fleeing the world's most brutal dictatorship. But the journey came at a devastating cost. Ji's father was captured and brutally tortured to death by the regime for assisting in his son's escape. The pain of his father's death would haunt Ji, a constant reminder of the heavy price his family had paid for their desire for him to be free. However, his mother, brother, and sister, who had also attempted to escape, later made it safely to South Korea, where they were eventually reunited with him. He left North Korea because he wanted freedom. He wanted to be treated as a human being, not as a slave to the regime.